Hello and welcome everybody to Civil 360. My name is Veer Singh and I welcome you all back to Civil 360, my dear friends. So here in this session, we are going to be discussing another sectional test, and that sectional test is going to be for the modern Indian history. And in this sectional test, we shall be covering a wide range of questions. And in those questions, we'll try to understand how are we to actually solve the particular questions. Means what is the art of actually solving the MCQs? Why? Because in the previous sessions, my dear friends, you have quite and very well understood that how have we actually solved these questions, and you got to know on the art. That means irrespective of the amount of knowledge that you have, that means in spite of having limited knowledge, how can we actually ace this art of MCQ solving, and how can we accurately solve the MCQs so as to clear the prelims examinations? And that is the agenda of our sessions here. Okay, wherein we try to understand what is the art of the MCQ solving. We try to decode the examiner's mindset, and apart from that, we try to decode the questions here. Okay, so based on that interpretation, let us start with the initial set of questions that we are going to be doing here. Okay, the initial set of questions. So when we talk on the initial set of questions, so here the first question that we see is, okay, the first question here, what do we understand, my dear friends, is that if you just look at it, consider the following statements. The Indigo Revolt in Bengal, it was considered successful as it forced the British government to intervene. All right. The British government responded by banning all indigo cultivation in India. And then the Indigo Commission of 1860 was set up as a direct response to the revolt's impact. Which one of the following is correct with respect to the above statement? So always and every time remember, my dear friends, that you have to always read the directive. If you do not read the directive, then you are in a very wrong approach. Okay, so never ever, even in the fast manner, okay, skip the directive, but you always have to read the directive here. Okay, now when we talk on this, let us just understand the directive, the options. Both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. Both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, but only one explains statement 1. Only one of statement 2 and statement 3 is correct, and that explains statement 1. And neither statement 2 or statement 3 are correct. Okay, so all of these four, they are dependent on statement 1. Okay, means we have to correlate this with statement 1. So what is statement 1 telling? That the Indigo Revolt in Bengal, it was considered successful as it forced the British government to intervene. Now everyone is aware about the Neel Bidroh. Okay, it is known as the Neel Bidroh in Hindi. Alright, that is the Indigo Revolution, the Indigo Revolt. And it happened at that point of time. And indigo at that point, it was forced by the plantation, the European plantation people, to onto the farmers to cultivate it, forcefully. That was the general idea at that point of time. Okay. So here what happened is, yes, it was considered successful. Why? Because it forced the British government. We know that this statement is correct. Now, the government responded by banning all indigo cultivation in India. Now, this movement, it was regional, right? So why would it lead to banning the indigo at India level? First thing. And secondly is that all indigo cultivation at some place, somewhere, indigo would have been done, no? Okay, not forcefully, but voluntarily it could have been done. So here they are telling that all indigo is banned. So that is why this statement is too extreme, so that it is wrong. Alright, now the Indigo of 1860 was set up as a direct response to the revolt's impact. That means Indigo Commission, just look at the time. Okay, and if you have read, the commission was set up, and here they are telling that it was set up as a direct response to the revolt's impact. Because every time look at the statements complementarity. Okay, whether it is complementary or whether it is contrary to each other. So if it is complementary, so at that point of time, it could become somewhat correct. If it is non-complementary, it would not become correct. Okay, so that is the understanding here. Now, just look at this, that the British government responded, if we eliminate the second one, we know the third statement is correct. both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct. No, statement 2 is incorrect. Both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct. No, statement 2 is incorrect. Only one of the statement 2 and statement 3 is correct, and that explains the statement 1. Neither statement 2 nor statement 3 is correct. No, statement 3 is correct. So like this we eliminate, so we come to the answer as the particular C. Okay, we are coming to the option as C. Now, when we move to the next question, okay, that it has been given, the explanations also have been given. Now, when we move to the next question, what is going to be the answer for this? That which of the following were important sources of the rise of nationalism in India during the 1858 to 1905 time period? Sources of the rise of nationalism in India. What do you feel is the answer here? What do you feel is the answer here? So when we talk on this, you have read on the rise of Indian nationalism. So here when we talk on the rise of Indian nationalism, what can we correlate? Okay, there were various factors for the rise of Indian nationalism. Okay, that means the British, they are going to take various political, economic, social and the other steps that led to the increasing nationalism in India. So regional newspapers and writings, that means various intellectuals, they had started writing in, they had started writing and started publishing those works, and it spread amongst the people, and the people started to read those works, and that is why we are going to say that it is going to be what? It is going to be, it is going to be known as the particular, it is going to be known as the, but it led to the increasing awareness. It led to the increasing awareness. Okay, so that is what we generally understand here. All right, just a moment. Okay, so then what is going to happen is that these intellectuals, they started writing newspapers, and they started, they started publishing it, and people got to know on the English, on the Britishers, the people got to know. The second aspect is rediscovery of India's past. Now the intellectuals, they were, they got to know that the people of India, they had a rich past, because the Britishers always used to say that the Indians, you have dark ages in the past and you have always been controlled by other foreigners. But at that point of time, there were various excavations because of which we got to know on the rich history. For example, the Ashoka, the various Ashokan pillars were excavated, and then it told us that how big was the Indian Empire. We got to know on Chandragupta, the Gupta ruler. So the Gupta dynasty was termed as the golden age. So because of that also, it spread the Indian nationalism. Because of reform movements, various issues in the Indian society such as untouchability, casteism and everything, it got removed. And because it got removed at that point of time, it led to increasing unity. And nationalism means what? That the people are united. Okay, so that also led to that. Reactionary policies of Lord Lytton. So automatically, if the Britishers are putting up reactionary policies that are detrimental to the interest of the Indians, automatically that would lead to what? It would lead to the increasing nationalism. Refrain from Western thoughts. Okay, so the Western thoughts, it had motivated the reform movements, and also the Western thoughts, they focused on the idea of scientific understanding, logical reasoning and analytical ability. So it was scientific school of thought. So that scientific school of thought also helped increase the nationalism. However, here there is refraining from that. So that is why this is wrong. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 are correct, but the fifth one is going to be wrong. Alright, so that is the answer here. That is the answer here. Now, okay. Now, what is going to be the answer for this particular statement? What is the answer for this particular statement? The third one. Here what you can see is, consider the following statements. Import on duty. Consider the and how many of the above mentioned were a part of the pre-Congress nationalistic campaigns? Pre-Congress nationalistic campaigns means what? The Congress, it got created in which year? The Congress was created in the year of 1885. Okay, so prior to 1885, which were the elements that happened? Okay, so opposition to Lytton's Arms Act. So Lytton's time period, it was during the time period of 1878. Okay, support for Ilbert bill, it was 1883. Campaign in Britain for pro-Indian parties, it was also in 1870s and 1880s. Indian civil service agitation, once again during the 1870s it was there. Okay, and import duty on cotton. So all of these means, see, whenever you are going with any statement, if you look at it that it is positive in nature, okay, and the statement itself, just look at how many of the above mentioned were a part of pre-Congress nationalistic campaigns. So nationalistic campaigns, that means something that is positive. Okay, the examination is trying to ask you whether you are aware about the positive events or no. They will not tell that here they will, if they are purposefully putting something such as the adoption of Purna Swaraj. Okay, so that was purposefully put, so that would be incorrect. But which is naturally put here, which you think naturally could be the idea, okay, so that would be correct. So the examination for a positive statement, it is asking the positive things. So these positive things obviously led to a nationalistic feeling there. Okay, so that we can understand, and that is why here the answer is going to be all the five. Okay, so all the five, it led to the emergence. For example, import duty on cotton, it was on 1875. There was the struggle, the campaign which was done. Lytton's Arms Act in 1878. Then Ilbert Bill 1883. Then campaign in Britain. And then campaign in Britain, for example, the East India Association was also there in 1866. After that, a lot of associations, they got created at that point of time. Then the Indian Civil Service agitation in 1878-1870, when the age was reduced during Lytton. Okay, when the age was reduced during Lytton. All right.